Welcome to Lifestyle Solopreneur, the community for entrepreneurs who put lifestyle first. Join your host Flavia Barris as she interviews successful lifestyle solopreneurs and shares ideas to help you find the perfect balance between lifestyle, business, and self. Flavia is an attorney, marketing expert, and founder of several online academies. She's been featured in major media including BBC World News, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Post, ESPN Television, and more. Join us for this episode of Lifestyle Solopreneur.
Hey, Lifestyle Solopreneurs. Today we get to meet with Ricardo Johnson. He is the founder of Oases, a groundbreaking platform transforming real estate investment through blockchain technology. With over a decade of experience in real estate and finance, Ricardo has successfully built and exited companies leveraging technology to break down traditional investment barriers. Welcome to the show, Ricardo.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being on. This is great. And, I love new topics whenever someone can come on the show that we haven't already ventured into. And blockchain, and how it can relate to real estate, definitely a new topic, super interesting to me personally, and I think to a lot of listeners. So tell us a little bit about your background, your story, and how you ended up where you are today.
So my background's in finance. That's what I studied in university. And as soon as I left, I started off my own business in men's fashion and built that up for 10 years. So this is before any tech came in place. This is very early Instagram, Facebook days. After that business, I exited that one. That's when I got into real estate, and is one of the businesses that I had to start literally from the bottom. So I started off doing inventory reports and had a few clients that I would go around and do an inspection on property and help people secure their deposits. And that gradually snowballed into property management, short-term rentals. Then I started to build my own portfolio, then created a course teaching other people how to build their portfolio, and slowly got into the tech space. So this is just from discovering the shortcomings of my actual business and thinking, it'd be great if there was an app or a piece of software that can do this process. Once I figured out that it's not actually in the market, I actually tried to, build that myself. And that's how I got into tech in general. I was then introduced to blockchain technology. That opened up my world to a whole, plethora of opportunities. And because of my background in real estate and all the experience that I built there, I knew that that's where I wanted to take things. And for the past 2 years, I've been tokenizing real estate. And for the past year, building Oases, which is a fully integrated platform which allows people to invest and own real estate from all over the world.
So back it up to the 101 on, first of all, let's define blockchain, because there's people listening that might just literally be picturing a metal chain thinking, what is this? So what is blockchain and how have you harnessed it to help you in real estate?
So blockchain is a digital ledger. So it allows you to essentially record data which can't be changed. It can't be hacked. So this is perfect for things like when you have, for example, shares of a company, you have a share certificate, the blockchain can create a token, which is a digital twin of that share certificate, which allows you to then give access to anyone in the world can create a wallet to purchase that token or trade that token with somebody else. It just gives people another layer on top of the infrastructure we already have, which just allows people to have more access, easier access, cheaper access. So for things like real estate, for example, it solves problems like the issue of being able to buy real estate. So let's say the property is $500,000. To buy that property, you're going to need $150,000 as a deposit, as a down payment on that property, which a lot of people can't afford. With the blockchain technology, we're able to fractionalize that property so we can break that down into a lot smaller chunks, which allows people to invest and have fractional ownership. So instead of having to invest $150,000, you can invest, let's say $15,000 and own a percentage of that property. And that's something you can do instantly. So within a few minutes, you can create your account, you can actually purchase that token, and now you have real ownership within that property. So any rental returns it produces, you have access to that. Whereas if you want to do that in a traditional way, one, you need a lot of money up front. It's going to take you a couple months to actually get the keys to that property. If you want to sell it, you have to put it back onto the market, wait another few months for someone to buy it. And then you have all the fees and legal compliance in between that to actually do that transaction. So this technology is a perfect tool to streamline all of those things so people can instantly own, they can instantly sell, and start building their portfolio with what they have.
And so who manages the property day to day, collecting rents? If there's a shower head that's not working, who sends the plumber out? How does that work?
So for our platform, we focus on luxury resort properties. So they already have their rental scheme or operators in place that would manage the property. So all we would do is just own that property and collect the rental returns that the management company produces. They handle all the guests, they handle all the cleans, literally everything. So it's a fully passive investment.
And so what are the markets that you like to focus on? If it's, resort or vacation areas, is it in a specific country, specific type of resort? Because, you've got ski resorts and then you have like islands. So what is it that you like to focus your efforts on?
Well, we haven't got a ski resort yet or an island yet, but we focus on the main tourist destinations. So far, we've got property in Tulum, Mexico, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Maldives. We're working on some projects in the UAE, in Dubai, for example. And so really anywhere that people are traveling towards, anywhere that, the tourism rates are increasing every year, these are the targets that, we want to get into those markets to capitalize on that.
Do you see this is something that becomes more and more common? Like, do you think this is kind of the new normal and is going to be very commonplace where you don't have to explain it to people because they'll be like, oh yeah, I mean, that's how I invested in my last 5 projects. And do you think that blockchain is going to open up even more doors in the future?
Yeah, I definitely believe that blockchain technology would open up a lot more doors, and just for real estate, but for all assets worldwide, even stocks, for example, they will also eventually be tokenized. It's just a much cheaper, more efficient, more secure way for people to do these transactions in general. In terms of real estate, I think out of everything, this is probably what's taken the longest to get to this point where we are today. People were tokenizing real estate projects 5 years ago, for example, but it's only really now that we have regulatory clarity on what you can and can't do in what regions, for example, and governments in itself are catching up to what the actual investors are looking for today, so the technology that we have today. So I can see in the foreseeable future, let's say the next 5 to 10 years, that it would be probably more than commonplace. It would just be the standard for how we all could be. You've got to think of it this way. Most of us have smartphones. Most of us have access to information, but the way that people use real estate as a hedge against inflation, real estate values are only going to increase over time. And unless our salaries are increasing in that same rate, the wealth gap between the people who can afford real estate and people who can't afford real estate is only going to increase over time. So it's inevitable that this will be the solution to that problem, and just to give more access for anyone to really start building wealth.
And so here in the United States, we have such strict regulatory requirements and rules and laws all around investments, right? We have government agencies, not just at the federal level, but state level as well, that look at any kind of an investment opportunity. And there's all these rules in place, especially real estate syndications, which is where, somebody says, I have this great piece of property and I want to gather investors to pool their money together so we can buy it and then operate it. You get a return. Traditionally, it hasn't been blockchain. It's been just sort of done in a different way. I mean, I don't want to go into the weeds on it, but usually everybody becomes a member in, let's say, an LLC, an entity that then purchases the property. It's managed by some kind of management group or management LLC. And, so that's been happening for a lot longer, really, than blockchain has been around. But again, the state, federal, the SEC, right? They want to keep tabs on this because they want to make sure people aren't investing in something that maybe just doesn't even exist, right? And so for blockchain, what are the rules and restrictions in the states? If somebody wanted to do that, let's say in the United States, is it considered crowdfunding? Because I know crowdfunding in many respects is one of those exempt categories of investment where the state and federal governments aren't scrutinizing it as closely and putting the kinds of restrictions that you would see for something that's not crowdfunding. So what about this? Like, where does this fall in that world of regulatory oversight?
So if it's in the same place, we still have to register our tokens as securities with the SEC. And you're correct in terms of like the crowdfunding. Technically, it does count as crowdfunding because we are collecting funds from individuals. However, the criteria or the compliance that you need to set up your fund as a crowd fund is slightly different to how we're operating. So I suppose slightly technical, but we register our tokens under what you call a Reg D. It just means that, we are able to market our offering as an investment, but we have to do accreditation checks on anyone who invests with us. So essentially, it's there to really protect investors in general. That's what their job is, to stop people from losing their money, essentially. But how we operate ours is that we're only able to, I suppose, bring on clients or investors who are already millionaires at this stage. So essentially, they're sophisticated investors. They know how to do the due diligence. They essentially have experience and know what they're investing in. So that's our particular market in the US.
Super interesting. And for people that hear the word blockchain and technology and they're thinking, okay, then I guess people need cryptocurrency to get in on this. Are people coming to the table with dollars or pounds or whatever's their sort of government-backed currency, or are they needing to first convert something into some kind of a cryptocurrency in order to use blockchain and to invest in this kind of thing?
So I think that's like probably one of the biggest misconceptions, but it totally makes sense. I mean, for our platform, you don't actually have to have crypto to invest. You can use your bank card or a wire transfer, and you can wire US dollars, euro, pounds as normal. In terms of the conversion, that's what we do on our side. But the reason why we have it all on the blockchain, you just need your own wallet because you have custody of your tokens. And that's how you interact with your shares, essentially. So every time that we distribute any rental returns, you're going to receive that in US dollar, but tokenized US dollar. So you could withdraw it back to your bank account. You could reinvest back into more tokens. You can essentially do what you want, but you have custody of your assets.
So what's next for you? What do you look at in the future and say, this is where I'm headed? This is where I'm steering my personal life ship?
It's a great question. For me, overall, it's growth, like personal growth, being able to learn, adapt. I mean, I've only, just got into this industry for the past 2 years, and it's still early days for everybody that's in this space. So it's really putting myself in the right position for the next 15, 20 years and to really be ahead of the curve of the transition that's happening. But that's, being able to stay sharp, making sure that I'm building a company in the right way, attracting the right investors on the platform. Yeah, that's probably where my focus is at the moment.
And I always ask guests, I'm like, is there something that you can share with the audience so that we can all learn and benefit and be inspired and motivated by you? And we host all of those. Our website called podcastguestgift.com, podcastguestgift.com. It's a vault. So we keep them all there, but we also send people direct as well. So either place, if you want to go and access all of our guests' freebies and information that they're offering at no cost, then go visit podcastguestgift.com. But also, I'm going to ask you, Ricardo, where people can go directly to get your tokenization playbook. It's about how to invest in real estate like the 1%. It's a great video series. I highly recommend it. And it breaks down what you're talking about: fractional ownership, passive income. And then you've got all your case studies so people can sort of see it in play in the real world. So how do people access that video series? And again, it's going to be available in our vault, but where can people go and get that direct?
You can access it directly from YouTube. If you just search my name, Ricardo C. Johnson, you can find my channel. And every week I put out a new webinar. And it's not always specifically about tokenized real estate, but it's really there to prepare people for the transition that's coming. So people can, stay ahead of the curve and at least doesn't necessarily have to invest today or anything like that, but at least then you're in the know of what's happening and the opportunities that are out there.
I always say one of the most valuable things we have is time. And one of the most valuable things we can do is learn. And I just thank you so much for putting that education out there so that we can all understand this. I mean, it will become the new normal, right? And so you want to get ahead of that curve and you want to already know what is going on in the world of tokenization, in the world of blockchain, in the world of fractional ownership of real estate, because I think that's big as well. So thank you, Ricardo, so much for being on the show today and sharing with us your expertise and knowledge and inspiring us to do more and find more ways to learn and also to grow. Thanks again for being on the show today.
Thank you, Flavia.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, and if you leave a review on iTunes, I promise I will read every single review. If you know someone who makes a full-time living from part-time work, and maybe this is you, please visit lifestylesolopreneur.com to nominate a guest or to nominate yourself. Because remember this, money doesn't buy happiness. But money in the hands of a happy person, there is no greater tool.
Today's episode was brought to you by the Get Shift Done program. It's a lifestyle-changing online class to help you define your business and lifestyle ambitions and to set goals in a way you've never experienced before. This class will 10x your daily productivity with methods that will blow your mind. And if you use a coupon code podcast, the class tuition is 99% off. Visit GetShiftDone.com to enroll today.